Sincero Consulting presents your GMP Minute by Kevin Wall. This video is 3 of 8 in the series on supplier risk management. Assessing organizational capability while conducting a compliance audit is essential. When conducting an audit, assess the personnel capabilities outside the quality unit as the focus of the second element in the compliance maturity risk assessment. If you haven't done so, click the link above to get your free guide and participate with the case studies in this video series. Follow along in the guide to get the most from this video. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a GMP Minute. 2 key questions are, does the CMO have sufficient human capital in quantity and quality to execute what is needed? Do the subject matter experts know their procedures and external standards applicable to them? The QMS records should demonstrate expertise with well-thought-out rationales, be self-standing, and timely. Assess their expertise by choosing a few systems to do a deep dive review. When reviewing deviations, CAPA, and change control logs, I pick examples based on 2 criteria. 1. I follow up on production systems critical to my client. 2. I look for multiple deviations or CAPAs in a product direct impact system. The goal is to understand how well the organization solves problems. Low supplier risk is demonstrated by the SME's thorough understanding of their QMS and production processes. The records demonstrate the firm updated all of the other systems, such as change control, validation, training. I want to know if the QMS breaks down on the details. Key assessment element: do the departmental competencies and capabilities demonstrate the breadth of maturity across the organization? How deep do I have to drill before the system breaks down? Let's use the cleaning program as an example. Have the SMEs explain the details. Some key questions include, do they use a matrix approach? How do they define clean? Have they qualified their swab sampling? What is their process for introducing new products? Let's use the organizational competence checklist. Case study. You reviewed the deviation system and noticed multiple cleaning failures. The failures were after a CAPA was closed. Review of the documentation revealed the CMO did not define worst-case cleaning locations. The IQ documentation did not define and verify surface finish. The SME did not know worst-case conditions were a consideration and had not reviewed the original IQ documentation. How do you mark the checklist? Pause the video. We cannot conclude the cleaning inadequacies noted caused the new cleaning failures. We can conclude the engineering department does not fully understand cleaning validation requirements and did not identify root cause of the problem. The new failures after the CAPA was closed suggest the CAPA may not have been effective. Further investigation into the failure is needed. Determine what action QA has taken on the failures. How scientifically sound are the documented rationales for continuing production in the equipment? The quality unit should be judged on the overall adequacy of the approved records. Failure in the cleaning program is serious, and not having the proper expertise is more serious. Case study. Equipment qualification CMOs should have process risk assessments that feed qualification and validation. Process requirements should feed down to equipment requirements. Does the CMO implement process controls in a documented risk-based way? Does the CMO use the latest qualification and validation strategies? For example, firms can use the risk-based qualification approach published by ISPE Baseline Guide Volume 5, Commissioning and Qualification, 2nd edition. Measuring and test equipment with direct impact on product quality should be appropriately defined and qualified. That means measurement and test devices in production have the appropriate range and resolution. On the plant walkthrough, you notice the batch record records mass of liquid added as 120.00 kg with 120.00 kg required. You ask the production supervisor how the liquid was dispensed so accurately and ask him to point out the measuring device. You discover a level indicator marked to the nearest 10 liters was used. Moreover, the OQ of the equipment did not prove the addition could achieve the level of control defined in the batch record. How many issues do you find? Pause the video and mark your answers. The case study represents several concerns with the engineering department, qualification, production, and quality assurance. The engineering department did not ensure gauge and process controls are adequate for what was defined in batch record. The production department did not notice the gauge and controls were not adequate or the batch entries were suspicious. Those in charge of process transfer failed to ensure the process and equipment were adequate. The firm is marked deficient because several key departments lacked expertise to catch the problem. The quality unit is indicted because they did not ensure the equipment qualification was adequate. The quality unit scorecard is marked down. It is an expertise red flag if the measuring and test equipment are not suitable for their intended purpose. I cannot emphasize enough, the documentation must show the SMEs are proficient in the procedures, processes, and equipment. Case study. SMEs are experts in the QMS regulations applicable to them and external standards they must meet. Environmental controls are another excellent window into organizational capability. Look at the sophistication of the validation and recertification. The ISO 14644 series sets widely accepted standards for clean rooms. There should be documented rationale for sampling location, techniques, and frequency. Does the environmental monitoring show a state of control? Look for excursions above warning or action limits. You ask the SME to explain the air sampling procedure. The sample time does not match the recommendation in the ISO guidelines. This calls into question proper sampling technique, which can impact the validity of the results. What are your concerns? Pause the video and mark the checklist. Further investigation must be done to assess the validity of the environmental monitoring results. The sampling problem is a data point, suggesting the firm is not state-of-the-art with respect to external standards. It suggests the firm has inadequate qualification expertise. Now review all 3 case studies as one audit of a company. Based on the 3 case studies, how do you rate organizational capability and why? The data indicates the firm is not up to date in technical competence with respect to qualification and validation. The qualification system fails. What makes it worse is the fact the firm may lack sufficient expertise to solve the problem. The overall organizational competence is marked deficient and fails. The system calls into question the quality unit and quality system. In summary, the biggest mistake I see in vendor selection is not having quality involved early enough. The initial vendor assessments should be cross-functional. It works best when quality is integrated into the team. You should know the CMO organizational capability before you sign the supply agreement. Comment on how you rate CMO capabilities. Share this video with a colleague that might benefit. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a GMP Minute.